Hi everyone, it's Wendy. Welcome back to my channel. So I guess a couple weeks ago, a week or two ago, I told you guys that I went and I bought another Louis Vuitton Neverfull and Demi Azur. And you guys are going, but that was your first bag. Like, what's going on? What are you doing? So settle in, this is gonna be a chit chat video and it's gonna bore some of you and some of you guys might be interested in it, but it's about my journey and it's all gonna be TMI and a lot of it's gonna be stuff that I'm gonna be uncomfortable sharing with you guys. So who knows if I'll even post this video. So, okay. And again, it's gonna be a bit of a talk and it's gonna be a lot of TMI, but I'm gonna be brave and I'm gonna tell you guys all of this because it's about my whole handbag journey. There's little Hannah, she just got a haircut. After 9/11, I was working as a planner and I have a master's degree in planning and I was working as a planner. And after 9/11, our industry got really hit. So government was downsizing, a lot of redevelopment agencies were being shut down, private practice was laying off a bunch of workers, and it was very stressful. So a lot of people were leaving the industry. And so I decided to take a break and I decided to, to really think about just what was going on in the world and I just wanted to do some good. So I went out and I got certified to teach yoga and I was teaching 10 yoga classes a week and working retail and I was just hustling. I was doing everything that I could. And I absolutely loved that period of my life. I wrote a book called Serendipity in San Juan Capistrano. It was never published, but I had a lot of fun writing it and it was very cathartic and like therapeutic for me to do that. And so I was just teaching 10 yoga classes. 5 of them were in seniors facilities. So I would go to the same facility every day and work with the same amazing people every day. And I really got a chance to be in their lives. And one of them, Alice, she was in her 90s and in a wheelchair at the time. She said, she pulled me in close. She was deaf in one ear and she could hear in the one ear, but she pulled me in close and she said, Wendy, the reason why we all love you so much here is because you're the only one that comes here every day and hugs us and touches us and doesn't get paid to do so. And that touched me very deeply. And I was also teaching one Alzheimer's class a week as well. But anyone who teaches yoga knows that you don't make a lot of money doing yoga. So I had to figure something else out. So I have my master's degree from the University of California, Irvine, and that's always been a safe place for me. So when a job opportunity came up to work for UCI, I grabbed it. It was the hardest job I've ever done in my entire life. So what my job was I was running I was supervising a research project. I was the primary research collector. I was the person that was collecting the data for the professor I was working for. I had to sign up 109 people who had multiple sclerosis in various stages and phases of the disease. And I had to go out to their house and interview them and their caregiver to see if there was any sort of abuse that was happening between the two of them. And there's 5 realms of abuse. I told you this is a chit chat video. There's physical, psychological, mental, sexual, and then there's neglect. And I would do informed consent with them, both them and their caregiver. I'd say if the abuse is bad enough, and we had a scale, a way to measure that, I will have to report you to Adult Protective Services. So they all consented. I'm in their home, and my research took me everywhere from the hood. So I was in South Central, I was in Inglewood, I was the scariest episode I ever had or research experience I had was in Glendale in this home. The woman was lovely, her husband was psycho. All the way through to amazing homes in Coto de Caza. There was this beautiful home that I went to in Newport Beach that the man was so wealthy that he had an elevator built in his home to accommodate his disability. The experience was unbelievable on so many levels because these people accepted me into their home and they told me their deepest miseries with the disease and with their caregiver and how their caregiver was abusing them. A lot of them were just crying out for help because they just wanted a resource, for how to deal with the abuse that was happening or the abuse that they were inflicting. During the course of that job, I made crap for money. I was on that job for a year and a half. That contract ended and my marriage was ending at the same time. Look, I'm getting red because it's really, it's hard to talk about, but I really do want to share this with you guys. So the contract was ending and I got another job. So my BA is from the School of Social Ecology. There was a professor that was working there. She was looking for a research associate who could supervise her 6-year research project in a middle school in Long Beach. So it was in a sort of a less affluent, I can't figure out the word to say, area of Long Beach. And I was actually at the middle school for five and a half years. And so every year we would recruit 35 kids. We would sit them down with their parents and we were paying them target cards. So they would earn $250 in target cards over the course of the 2 years they were in my study. So we would follow these 35 kids for 2 years, and it was an exercise study. And so essentially what we were trying to figure out is, would children commit to staying with exercise and enjoy it more if they got to determine what kind of exercise they did and how hard they were working out? Not rocket surgery, right? Not rocket science. I say rocket surgery. It's a joke. But you know, it was phenomenal. I learned how to do EEGs on these kids. We put them on exercise bikes. We sent them home with actigraphs to chart their physical activity. And I would follow these kids for 2 years. These kids were amazing. These kids were mostly minorities. They were mostly Hispanic, Blacks, Asians, very few whites in my study. And I really got to know these kids and love these children. And we intervened in their lives in different ways. Like, you know, as a research person doing research, you have to have some objectivity. But we're in a middle school and I really grew attached to these kids. And if a kid needed a backpack, if I noticed that, then I would work through the PE department to buy a backpack for that child. And one of my favorite kids, I noticed that he broke his glasses and his shoes were falling apart. So I worked through the PE department just to anonymously buy the kid. I loved him so much and I loved his family so much. Shoes and eyeglasses, and you know, I found my team, and I had over 100 interns that worked for me, undergrad interns that came through the program. We would work our little magic in different ways with these kids. So I worked that job for 5.5 years. I loved that job so much. I made crap for money. I was making $45,000 a year. I had left my husband during that job. Actually, the other research job with people with MS. I was living in this beautiful little studio apartment in Irvine. So I guess this is 9 years ago. It was $1,635 a month plus all utilities. I was making crap for money. At that time, I didn't have a lot of money. I actually had savings, a pretty good chunk in savings, but it was my safety net. I didn't want to spend it, and it was just there to make me feel like life is going to be okay as I'm working this the previous crappy job, and making crap for money. And then I settled down. I realized that I was going to be okay, so I took that money and I bought myself my first condo. And at that time, I was watching a ton of YouTube videos on luxury handbags because I had never purchased a luxury handbag before. So I was watching all of these YouTube videos. I was watching many Minks for All, DDGLA Diva, tons of people. I was watching them all, and I was thinking, oh, if I could, what would I buy for myself? And so when I finally felt secure and I went and bought my condo, which was a huge accomplishment for me, I was super proud of it. I took my money, my savings, and I bought myself a condo, and everything was going to be okay. I decided I was going to buy my first luxury handbag. And so after doing a bunch of research, I went into the Louis Vuitton boutique in Bloomingdale's at South Coast Plaza, and I bought myself a Neverfull Demi Azur, this one. But I was working this job. I was working in the middle school. It wasn't it was clean, but it wasn't all that clean. I was doing my best to keep this as clean as I could, feeling pretty fancy, carrying my first luxury designer handbag. But it was a struggle to keep it clean because, you know, I would have all this exercise equipment that, or like actographs or stuff that we were using for the EEGs or whatever. And I had bags for that, but sometimes things would just get shoved in here. The Target cards would get shoved in here. Like, it was a lot going on. I was managing, like, we recruited 35 kids for 4 years. So at one point we would have like 90 kids in our program and all these interns. So it was just chaos. I did the best I could. I didn't have SLGs at that time to keep all my stuff in, so the inside of my bag got pretty dirty. But I loved it. And I loved the honey gold patina that I got on it. So I worked that job for 6 years, wasn't making very good money, and then I finally went back to planning my career, making much more money than I was working for the university. And now I'm in my absolute dream job, dream boss, everything. Like, dream commute, because I was driving from South Orange County to Long Beach, and then I was driving even further than that to Rolling Hills. I was spending 2.5 to 3 hours of my day in my car every single day. My commute now is about 7-8 minutes, and I get to come home every day for lunch. So that's my life to now. But I had this Neverfull, very, very dirty inside, and I was frank about that. And then I had an instance where I got a lot of water on this part of the Neverfull. So I was talking to my husband, and my husband actually paid for, my second husband, Jay, bought me my first Louis Vuitton, this guy. And I said, I have a lot of sentimental attachment to this bag, but it's damaged, and I want to do better. You know, I love this bag, but I just want to do better. And he's like, there's no need, like, don't have attachment to things. You should buy yourself another one if you want to. So what I did is, my first one, I sold it on eBay, very frank about all of the damage. I sold it with the pouch that came with it, sold it on eBay to a woman. I made sure she knew about all the damage that there was to it, that what she was getting. And then I went and I bought this one. And I sold the pouch that came with it to help finance this one. And after all of that, after I sold the first one and the pouch, I ended up getting this brand new one for about $200. And that's my long story. So it's like it's coming full circle. It's the beige interior. I've used this one. I used it nonstop for a couple weeks. I don't use it with a bag organizer, but I do use a bag shaper on the bottom. So I just put this in the bottom. I can't remember where I got the bag shaper from. I just put that in the bottom, and then I fill it all up with all of my SLGs, and gonna do my best to try to keep this guy clean. And you know, my life is just not as chaotic as it was before. You know, I pick this up, I walk up to my car, I put it on the passenger seat of my car and drive to work, and I put this on the floor in my office, on the carpet in my office. So came all the way full circle with that bag. But I also came full circle with everything that I think about the luxury community, and that's why I told you all of that as well. So I was really scared once I got separated from my first husband, and as I was going through my divorce, because I was only making $40,000 a year, and nervous. But you know, even though I had money and I had savings, it was just a nerve-wracking time. Then I bought this, and then I was watching all the YouTube videos, and I was like, well, I need to have SLGs to go in that bag. So I was buying like the pochette accessoire and the wallets and all that kind of stuff. And then I started buying all the other bags. I had 3 Neverfulls at one time, and I went through a shitload of bags, And my husband and I painfully joke about that. But I was doing all that, and then I was selling them, some for a loss, some not. And then last May, I lost 2 people in my family, and I went up to Canada and went to a double funeral. And you guys, for those of you that know, you guys know the story. I don't really want to get into it. But it was a spiritual reawakening for me going to that funeral, going to those double funerals, because these two young people in their 30s left an amazing legacy in their community. Close to 1,000 people attended those funerals, and all of the stories of grief and all the different ways that these two people in my family made differences in people's lives with no money at all, just based on their good deeds and all the rest of it. It really impacted me. It really impacted me, and I came home, I quit YouTube, I deleted all my videos, and I took a year off YouTube, a whole year, just to get my head straight and to do a lot of reassessment. And I sold off a lot of my collection because it just didn't feel right to me. And now I've got some handbag rules. I don't buy any more SLGs. I've got all the SLGs I need, which isn't a lot, but I don't need it. Why am I going to spend more money on things just to hold my money? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I've got, I've got a cosmetic case from Louis Vuitton, a toiletry, like whatever. I've got all the ones that I want. I don't need any other ones. And for me now, if I want to buy like a novelty bag, it's going to be under $1,000, not over $1,000. And then anything that's over $1,000 is going to be a true classic. And I really do think carefully about the items that I add back to my collection. I don't even like calling it a collection, because to me, it doesn't feel like a collection. It kind of feels like, for me, it feels kind of, for me, it doesn't resonate with me. Like, I have bags in my closet that I use. I don't have a collection. I don't have things sitting on shelves, and they're not art pieces for me. They're bags that I love, and it's almost like I love the hunt better than the buy. Like, I will look and look and look and look and look, and then buy something. But the bags that I buy now, I want to be in my collection. I keep on saying collection, in my rotation for a very long time. And I have purchased a couple kind of more novelty bags recently. I purchased the Coach Pink, what was that one called? Tabitha, I think. And then I bought a little Kate Spade, a beautiful blue, kind of like a Fendi knockoff bag. And they're super cute, and I'm gonna enjoy using them for a while. But my plan is, I've got two great nieces up in Red Deer, Alberta, Kata and Ariel. And so at some point in the future, I'm gonna send those up to them, because they're both girly girls. Like, they both are really into pink, and I think it makes me happy to think that those are gonna go up there, and that Kata and Ariel are gonna feel like all super fancy carrying that bag. I also bought a Coach Rogue 25 that I'm really liking. I've only carried it a couple times. It's black with mustard interior. So with that bag, I have 4 sisters that are up in Canada, and I can really see either my sister Lorraine or my sister Marilyn really enjoying that bag. Not that I don't enjoy it, not that I don't love it, but every time I go up to Canada, I just think to myself, I need to share with them. I need to share with them what I have. My one sister, my sister Barb, I gave her a Coach bag, and I bought it at the outlets. It probably only costs like $180, $200 or something like that. And I gave it to her. I sent it to her, and when I went home to visit, she's like, Wendy, I've never had a fancy bag like this before. And then I just realized I need to do more of that. And it's okay. It's okay for me to spend like a few $100s on a novelty bag that makes me happy for a little while. That's not thousands of dollars, and that I don't plan to resell, and just send it up to someone in my family. And like, I can see Ariel and Kata, they love getting pampered. So they love going for their manicures and pedicures with their grandma. And I can just see them with their little fancy bags, just loving them. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm pretty sure, I've only used my Rogue a couple times, and I really like that bag, but at some point in the future, I will send that bag up to Lorraine or Marilyn, I think, one of my sisters, because I think that they would really enjoy it, and they could get a lot of use out of it, and it's such a beautiful bag. So, was this video about this reveal? Kind of. But it was also to tell you guys that I've really come full circle with everything. I think when I started buying my luxury handbags that I love, I got carried away and I got swept up, and yeah, so this is all making me sound crazy. But to me, this is just really symbolic. Repurchasing this and getting a chance to kind of like keep it clean, and it's just symbolic of the full circle of all the progress that I made. And I think that if people in the handbag community are honest with themselves, they will realize that they too got swept up. And a lot of them are buying above their means. Many of them are. And maybe buying for YouTube or buying for Instagram or something like that. And that's fine. If you have those funds and if you are in a position to do that and that makes you happy, then by all means, you should do that and you should have fun with it. But for me, taking a year off YouTube was amazing because I feel like I forgot who I was and that I remember who I am now. And yeah, so that's it. And yeah, so my handbag rules are anything under $1,000, any novelty kind of fun thing I will buy for, you know, a couple $100s at the outlet store. I'm going to enjoy it a few times. Then it's going to go up to one of my family members in Canada, one of my great nieces, or even one of my nieces, because I have a couple goddaughters that love things too, and they're struggling. I mean, they're in their late 20s, early 30s, and but you know, I'm sure that they could benefit from something that I'm no longer using, or whatever the case may be. And oftentimes I'll send them things that are brand new as well. Most of the time now I just send them cash. PayPal, friends and family, I'll just send them cash because those girls just need some cash. So anyways, that's my long story. Yes, I sold my Neverfull. Yes, I bought this one. I am actually thinking about I sold my Demi a Bean Neverfull because the pale pink color was also, like, it's super easy to get dirty. I really am thinking that at some point in the future, I'm going to get another Demi Bean Neverfull, but I want it in the PM size. It's super hard to get. But I'm thinking that I will buy that. That might be my next bag. I don't know. I'm also looking at some of the Chloe's. I want the Chloe. I don't know what it is. I think it's the Susie Small that they don't sell anymore. I saw it on Tamra on Real Housewives of Orange County and became obsessed. I don't know why, but this is what we do. I think I need to buy that pre-love because I don't think they sell that one anymore. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna have fun, buy less expensive handbags for a couple $100s, and then send them up to Canada, and then anything over $1,000 is gonna be a classic that I will keep in my wardrobe for as long as I wish, hopefully a long time. So that's my long story. I know that a lot of people are not gonna like this video for one reason or another. A lot of you guys will appreciate it, my honesty, and just sharing my journey with you guys. I'm not going to be able to do a YouTube video for a couple weeks now. So I'm just going to wish you guys all a really nice Labor Day and beginning of fall. I hope the kids are settling into school, and we will talk to you guys soon. Much love to you guys all. Bye.